I have faith in YouTube, and it just told me that this Hangout is live. And so I choose to believe it. And I'm here with Sébastien Allard, who is one of the notorious game masters in our 4 game masters take on all for one, Regime Diabolique, which you can see on the screen. And we have the opportunity to play a little bit. So we're taking it. And we're going to suck the marrow out of that bone until we are replete. So when last we left our intrepid band, they had been taken to the front, taken to Strasbourg against the cannons and the assembled guns of the Hungarian or Bavarian enemy. And that was all Sebastian's fault. And so it is with great joy that I read an epilogue that he wrote. What was his character, Jean-Marie, doing during the time when our characters are being attacked by cannons? Well, let's ask him what he was doing.
Well, from the point of view of Jean-Marie Ducroiset, a fellow musketeer to Briscoe, Martin, and of course Philippe.
Of course.
Of course.
The famous Philippe.
Jean-Marie was asked by Monsieur de Tréville to investigate the rumors of a, let's say, a wicked person, a dame, which Jean-Marie will learn is called the Witch of. So from the point of view of Jean-Marie, the guys who went to the front had it easy. fighting a monster all by pretty rough. What Jean-Marie discovered is that this witch, this old woman, had her view on a younger woman called Madeleine de Bouvier, the daughter of a baker. And of course, upon learning that truth, Jean-Marie had to protect the baker's daughter with his life, because protecting the king is kind of the default mission for the musketeers. But Jean-Marie have a double life. He also made a vow to protect life from evil and dark forces. So the epilogue I wrote happened in a street while Jean-Marie, his lackey Luciano, and Madeleine were running away from the witch, who happened to be much more powerful than anticipated. And Jean-Marie, in a desperate any ideas of what to do to lose this witch, to run away, made a go for the sewers. And this is where the witch found our little trio. And as Jean-Marie fought the witch, Luciano and Madeleine got back to the surface, and they heard all kinds of noises from the sewers. A desperate man defending his life in darkness, the roars of a unnatural beast with sounds of steel clashing with the stones and flesh, and then silence. And the scene ended with the head of the witch getting to the surface, making us faint and Luciano questioned his fate, or rather surrendering his fate to God. But the head of the witch was pushed by the ganted hand, the gloved hand of Jean-Marie, who made it to the surface, and he just rolled back to his he rolled to his back on the cobble street and started to meditate about his friends, about his luck to be alive, about his reflex being good at the right time, probably a God-sent gift, and on the ground covered in filth and blood and all kinds of disgusting things. And yeah, that was there.
All right.
That I handed the scene.
I seem to recall a part of the epilogue where he wanted to punch those his brothers in arms who had it easy.
He was on his back and he was thinking, man, these guys have it easy right now. They're just on the front. That's easy. That's I'm gonna punch him so hard.
Escorting the noble woman, drinking wine.
Oh, drinking wine, doing the musketeer fluff. Those bastards.
So lying there on the cold muck of the Paris streets not very wide, almost like you could reach out with both hands and touch both sides. It's not true. It's just the thickening shadows around you. Sinking into the mud of the street, you can feel the cobblestones digging into your back. The fatigue, the heavy fatigue of a night of searching and running and fighting and crawling and horrors faced. You can finally rest for tonight. And Luciano comes up and he's just gushing with concern and fear and a little bit of anger for how could you put me in this situation? I was just trying to go home. But no. Witches. He's checking your body for broken bones and cuts, and he obviously doesn't want to touch you because your brilliant blue and silver musketeer's cloak and
all gone. All
tabard
gone.
is soaked black with Paris. He assesses you and he says, you're all right. You're just bruised. And so Jean-Marie will be beginning this encounter with 2 non-lethal wounds, 2 in. Spilling the style chips on the floor.
Spilling the tire chips. Classic.
All right. And we'll begin with 5 style for that, for the great joy you gave us in running the adventure with Louise, taking her to the front, and for the inspiring writing in the epilogue, which made me want to bring this scene together.
Is this on top of what I already have?
This is you got 5 style. You have 5 style.
All right.
Okay. Now, Luciano, who among many things is a doctor who is frequently told not to practice his art on Jean-Marie. Go away, I don't need you. is wanting to bind, bind your ribs. He's moving to tear off a piece of his cloak. You'll be fine. I just have to bind your ribs.
Well, I take a deep breath. I probably spit an unnatural amount of liquid on the ground, swiping my mouth. Then I grab Luciano's shoulder and I just rise to my feet, standing slowly, painfully, shaking a little, and I'll just say, Luciano, you'll patch me up in a few minutes. We have a lady to escort to her house, and I grabbed the wish head, and we have to put that thing into the ground, sanctified ground.
He sadly nods
For
his head.
she might come back, and I move the head like this, to to underline my point.
He sadly nods his head. You can see on his face the resignation, the acceptance of the fact that he will never, ever be able to practice his healing arts upon you when they are needed, only when they are too late. And he just says,
and then I follow up with, oh yeah, go ahead.
he just is, you, a beautiful bastard.
Now, Luciano, do you know how hard it is to decapitate a woman with a rapier?
No. Why would I?
I'm calling for a divine intervention. Look at this blade. And I give him the blade.
He leans back in shock and recoils in disgust.
So I'll
Gives
walk
it back very quickly.
I'll walk towards Madeleine. And my idea was to offer her my hand to help her up. But at the last second, I'll realize how filthy my hand is, and I'll just move like, oh, yeah. Are you okay, mademoiselle?
Inside her, bubbling up, behind her eyes, you can see the gratitude and the horror. Horror at what has happened, but also, in a sense, horror of Jean-Marie. She's recoiling from what he has demonstrated this evening. But she's well raised, and she says, thank you. Thank you.
I'll as she recoiling, I'll just stop and understand the situation. And I'll hide the head in my back just a little, and I'll say, Luciano over here will take you to your home. I think it is best. I still have things to do to make sure that the witch of Saint Henri will not bother you anymore. And I can only wish you a good night. And yeah, that's it.
She's overcome with emotion as she suddenly realizes she's free. She hadn't really recognized it until now. She swoons back against these old rotten barrels at the edge of the alley. And she's about to say something important. But then her eyes widen, looking past your shoulder. Luciano gives a little gasp, almost a girlish gasp.
I'll turn around and I'll just reach for my rapier on Luciano.
He's very busily trying to give it back. Yeah. Somebody!
I'll just grab it.
He runs over to grab Madeleine de Bouvier, and down the alley, shambling, limping, dragging twisted legs, is a group of men. It's so hard to tell in the darkness, but you can hear their one heavy step and one dragging step, or you can hear shuffling feet and you hear heavy breathing. And somewhere a whisper is saying, and it echoes off the walls and in your mind, why did you think? Why did you think? Why did you think? We were only one.
I'll place my rapier on the ground in a defying stance. The monster hunter's mind kicking in. I'll ignore the whisper and just shout to Luciano, run with the girl. This is not for you. And prepare some coffee.
The hair of the head of the witch de Saint Henri is coiling up around your arm.
I'll take a moment to assess. Then I'll spin my arm 1, 2, and I'll crack the head on the floor.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a style point right there. It shatters like a ripe melon. Inside, one would expect brains, the seat of intelligence. But what scuttles away from inside the head is not that. Losing itself in the mud and the darkness. But the shambling group of men, it must be men, is growing closer. And they're accusing. How could you? What did you do? We needed her. And other, less polite insults.
I'll take my rapier up and do a salute. And I'll just say, gentlemen, ladies.
It's really hard to tell.
I'll give you one chance to get out, to go away. For I am Jean-Marie Ducroiset, and this is not my first witch.
Okay, you can have another style. So I must admit, they pause. This is no undead army or a group of mind-controlled slaves. They pause in the face of such courage and bravado. There are 5, maybe 6. It's hard to tell. It's so dark in here. And Luciano listened to you this time. He fled with the girl, taking the light.
Excellent.
In the street in the direction where he went, you might find moonlight. But here, in this narrow alley, the darkness is thick. You can make out their shadowy forms, and you can make out their silhouettes against the street behind them. But the details of how many they are and what they are doing are obscured by the deep darkness. And to put that in perspective, this deep darkness would apply a -4 die pool penalty. Horrifyingly dark. Unless they can see in the dark, they will also be suffering this horrifying penalty. Okay. So they're shambling forward, and some of them are still muttering curses about you. How could you have taken her from them? Right. They needed her. Almost like she's a patron saint or a protector or mother or something. And still in the very back of your mind, you can hear that whisper, which you have pushed into the background, saying, "How could you think we were only one?"
Well, you, the talking one, I would be your obligé if you could step forward and tell me who needed that woman. The other one, I suggest you leave.
The one you're pointing at, he's looking at the others like, "You're not going to leave, are you?" But they, as a group, they truly are angry. And finally, one at the back, in a throaty woman's voice, says, "Get him!" And there's this brief heartbeat pause. Maybe while they're waiting for someone else to get him, you. And then the tension breaks. And as we used to like to say 1,000 years ago when we played D&D, initiative.
Initiative. Yes.
So initiative is rolled. What is Jean-Marie's initiative score?
Indeed. It's a 2.
It's initiative of 2. We don't need to apply the -4 to the initiative. Is it still 2?
Sweet Lord.
So it's a 6.
Do we need to? Yeah. It's I just rolled the initiative without any penalties to it.
Good. Can you beat a 0?
I can.
So you get to go first. You get to act first.
All right. So my first move will be.
So they are charging forward.
Okay.
So en masse. But charging for them is shambling, limping. Their shoulders are bumping into each other. You get glimpses that some have arms in slings. Some are moving on crutches, so their heads are wildly switching from side to side. I mean, it's like a beggar army, a rabble army, but they are intense in their commitment now to taking you on and avenging their loss, whatever that is.
Like a cheap cast of the Les Miserables.
Well, yeah. But they're not going to sing.
Well, since I'm going first, I'm going to just take out my main gauche just before the charge and take take like a defensive pause. And as their masses come to me, I'll just turn around at an angle and start running towards a different direction than Luciano. I want to divert the group elsewhere. My idea is to run for as long as I need to find a better place to fight. This is not a good situation to fight.
True. Okay.
And if I can fight in a narrow alley to funnel them down to one man, that'd be good.
All right. That sounds pretty good. So, the streets of Paris.
If I need to call a maneuver, I'll go with a parry or a dodge, or as I'm traveling, as I'm running. And if they are not running fast, I'll just sometimes pause, turn around, and taunt them, and like, come and get me, and I just continue to run. Jean-Marie in his head, just kill the witch. He's not a prey this time.
That's right. He's high on success.
Yeah.
Okay. And adrenaline. All right, so I'm going to basically treat this like total defense. Okay. So you're sacrificing your attack action. You have no intention to attack. You're being purely defensive. You're trying to retreat to higher ground, some kind of alleyway where there's light and they can come at you in smaller numbers. Now,
Yeah.
no man is the master of all of Paris's streets.
Oh.
So it is a risk. You know, will the street you find be to your advantage or to theirs by the time they catch up to you? Now, in terms of speed, you are just a little bit faster than them, but you're far more agile, far more mobile, right? And they're running in a cluster, which again hampers their movement when they encounter things like the rotted barrels at the end of the alleyway, right? And you know that to get to the bakery, Luciano had to have taken Madeline to your right, on your
Right.
or to your
So I
left when you
should
turn around, right? So you should go as you're
I should
running out. You should
the
go to your
opposite
right.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get out into that wider street, or it's more of a courtyard where other streets branch out, right? And there's shacks and shanties and little hovels all around the edge of this courtyard. And in the middle of the courtyard, there's this wagon missing one wheel, so it's on an angle, you know, and it has just junk piled on top of it, broken barrels and pottery and is that a pitchfork? To tell. There's a pool of light here, and then many choices of narrow alleyways to go down, one of which may bend sufficiently to frame the moon at its end, which would put you in silhouette but put them in the light.
All right.
But which one? Which one is that one? Do you press on? And we will use a simple memory check, intelligence, which is intelligence
Okay.
times 2. Or do you stay here in this larger open space, which is definitely advantageous for them, but has the best lighting conditions?
I think I'll just make a stop and go. You see, I'll pass one round in this location and then head up to the next.
Excellent.
Like
you can get anywhere in the courtyard
yeah.
you like. Where do you want to go?
I'll jump on the cart.
Woo!
Of course. And one foot on the barrel, 1 foot on the cart, and try to gain some height.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Okay.
And flinging my rapier, taking my mangoes to balance to make good balance. Yeah, I'm ready.
Do you want to continue the total defense, or is he now prepared to attack?
Let's see. They're pretty slow, eh? They're pretty.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
They're running, but some of them are hobbling, some of them are using their buddy to move forward, and as they come out into the courtyard, they're fanning out into a line, which will free up their ability to move faster.
Okay, I'll fling my kazak and sheet my mangoes. I'll take a pitchfork that is laying against the cart, and I'll just power throw the fork into the first one.
Woo! Gross. Okay.
Like free
right.
shit.
Okay. Could you make then for me? You're gonna throw it, or you're gonna stab him with it?
Well, I probably have more chance at stabbing with it. Maybe profiting from the weapon's long reach. Yeah, let's go with a long stab.
Right, hanging on right to the end, slides through your
Yeah,
fingers. Cool,
exactly.
or through your gloved hands, which are nicely moistened with sewage.
Oh, maybe a penalty, eh?
No, a bonus. This old
Yeah, it kind
pitchfork,
of.
you know, with its splinters and you know it's all rotten, would tear up your hand, except for the fortuitous experience of having been down in the sewers.
You know, if I don't know my own strength and the pitchfork just fly away, I'm fine with it.
All right, you sir have the initiative. So you may attack the first of the charging rabble with the
All right.
pitchfork.
So I guess I'm using fencing.
Fencing, sure.
Fencing, sure. And
So there's no darkness penalty.
yeah. Yes.
You have the higher ground also.
All right.
So I'm going to give you a +1 die to your pool.
+1 die. All right. Oh, cool. So it's a total of 5 successes.
5 successes. Okay.
Yeah, a 2, a 1, a 1, and a 1.
All right. So the targets is the leader, the one who is talking, right? He's bald, but he has this big bandage around his head, covering up. So he only has one eye. He's a vicious scar on his face. But in terms of limbs, he's pretty hardy. If you take him down, it may have an effect of morale on the others, right? You know, taking down the lead dog. And he comes running up, and maybe it's because of the eye patch, maybe it's because of the rage. He just doesn't seem to see the pitchfork.
Oh, brother.
His own defense will take away 2 of the 5 successes, but still he's munched into. You can hear that the sound, like the pitchfork is digging into ripe melons, and his cheap clothes tear, and his arm continues, although his body stops. You can feel it in your hand, feel the hard impact as his body hits and slides onto the tines of the pitchfork, and his hand keeps going and is pointing at you accusingly, and all he says as he looks at you is kill. And then he topples over, taking the pitchfork with him. Dun, 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 dun.
I'll just let go of the pitchfork and take the mangoes back. And
yeah. The others scream out, Robert!
Robert,
and the woman's voice.
Robert n'est plus. Who's next?
And the woman's voice again says, get him! Ah! And finally the rage boils over. But for some of them, I
believe it is now their turn.
Yes. For some of them, it's too much. And you notice out of the corner of your eye that the ones at the back on the sides, the ones whose heart wasn't really in it, they're running back down the alley. Which still leaves you with the woman and 4 of these men. One with a crutch who looks like he's going to attack you with it. 2 with, now you can see in the moonlight, blades. Not swords, but the knives of tradesmen, still deadly.
Yeah.
And then 2, one with a crutch and one with some kind of club, a broken piece of barrel or a piece of chair. It's hard to tell exactly in the darkness. And you have called out, who's next? And it's their turn to attack.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things I love about Ubiquity is being able to combine the opponents into one to be able to quickly deal with it.
Yeah.
Right. So they're all pressing.
Like a brute squad.
Like a brute squad, yes. Not Andre the Giant, but Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use dice for this attack because it's fun and I've got them in front of me.
Gotta use those ubiquity dice, man. You gotta use them.
Okay, so working together, right? One guy swinging the club at your legs. The two men with knives trying to charge to get up on the wagon, and the guy with the crutch kind of thrusting it towards you. They accrue 3 successes. It will be a little tough to overcome this assault.
Indeed. I'm pondering.
Now you still have the high ground bonus, so you have 1 die added to your defense.
Oh, okay. And they have 3 successes. Let's go safe. I'll spend a style point just to make it an 8 dice pool.
Woo! Chances are you'll be successful.
And if I take the average, I beat them, right? But
yes,
no, I prefer to roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Make it. Yeah.
Take your chances.
That's a 4 successes. The average.
In ubiquity. How did that happen? Okay, so I've described their loose plan of attack. Right, the club swinging at your feet, the crutch shooting at your midriff, and the 2 guys trying to flank. How do you deal with this assault, my friend? In the moonlight.
Time to get out. Time to jump off the wagon. I'm going to jump off the wagon, doing a front flip, and my feet will kind of do the axe kick move. I'd like to land on someone's face.
Woo. Okay.
This is my move to just get out of the cart. I'm preparing myself next round to go into the alley. Let's say it will be my attack for this round. I'll axe kick someone in the face.
Okay. Okay, so your attack is using acrobatics.
Oh, acrobatic. Okay.
Or brawl, whichever is better, because you recently purchased acrobatics, right?
Jean-Marie is still a better acrobat than a brawler. So
then yeah, use acrobatics.
Yeah,
because that's the core of what you're doing. Now, if you're successful, overcoming their defense, we'll use that as the target. You will have landed safely with your stated intention of being on top of someone.
Yeah.
If you're not successful, you'll have landed safely, but be in the midst of them, which is much less cool for you. Go.
Both results are cool. Fine by me.
Now you are high above them, so add in 2 extra dice for making this somersault in the air easier.
Okay. 4 successes.
4 successes is
a 2 and a 1. Yeah.
Yeah, is enough. So the knife user, crutch user, club user.
Well,
or Robert dead on the ground with a pitchfork.
I probably went randomly. I'll ask you to pick one random.
Let's go with the guy with the crutch. He was right in front of you. Go with the guy with the crutch.
All right, let's go with him.
Why not pick
on the crutch? He seems like a good lander.
Okay, so you do your forward somersault, carrying his body to the ground as you land and getting behind them. And it takes them a moment to recognize, where you have gone. And it's the man with the makeshift club, still a deadly weapon. You can see now in your new position that it has an iron band at the end of it.
Oh.
So perhaps it is a stave from a barrel. So a deadly weapon. He's the one to catch you first. He turns around and finds you in the shadows of the courtyard. The guys with the knives, they crawl up on the wagon, and then realize that you're no longer there. Like one guy swarmed up the wheel, the other guy jumped up to the seat and like leapt into the back of the wagon. Ha! But you're not there. So now they've taken the wagon, and you are back out in the courtyard.
Oh, okay. So I just leapt over them, and it took them a moment. Okay.
So the guy with the crutch,
not...
you've ridden right to the ground. He's beneath your booted feet.
These guys are no monsters to Jean-Marie, so he's not going to attack someone in the back. So Jean-Marie will just step back slowly, inviting them into the alley, maybe disappearing into the shadow. Like, come and get me.
Well, that's lovely. Now, if you would please, the whispering in the back of your head has been continuous. Why did you think?
Yeah.
Could you please roll for me a mental resilience roll? This is your willpower times 2.
Times 2, of course. Being a monster hunter, I'm quite used to that. It's a 4 successes.
4 successes.
A 3 and a 1. Yes.
It's nice to roll a 3. It's so rarely seen.
Those blue dice are amazing.
Okay.
What type of whisper? What kind of challenge?
They're trying to get into your mind, and it's the whispers are they're more than one, and they're feminine, and they're trying to get into your head, but maybe it's thanks to the fight, maybe it's thanks to the deep anger burning inside you, but they're not getting in. But you know that they're trying, and they're cowards hiding in the darkness, not willing to face you, like their sister, the witch de Saint-Henri. Right? They're hiding, cowering in the darkness with their devious, demon-tainted plans.
Now you see, as I'm recoiling into the alley, I'm thinking to myself, "You have made a big mistake. Now I know you exist, bitch." And there's no sleep until you dead. You hear me?
Robert.
Maybe Jean-Marie is just whispering to himself into the alley, but he's pretty adamant about killing monsters,
Absolutely. Dead Robert, twitches.
This is curious.
And you pull back into the alley, taunting them.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's hesitation. They don't want to pursue you into the darkness. But then you see them make the decision. Right? They're looking down at the twitching body of Robert. And almost in a sense, like the musketeers, you see them draw strength from each other and follow you into the alley. They may be poor, they may be downtrodden, but they are still men who value something.
All right.
And the man with the club, with the broken piece of cast iron on the end of it, he's taking the lead.
All right. I'd like to do something that is probably reactive and not meaningful in a turn-by-turn sense.
Mm-hmm.
as I see them come towards the alley, Jean-Marie will probably take a deep breath, and I'd like to shake off my fatigue with a style point.
Do it. That's 2 style.
That's 2 style.
2 style.
And gun the fatigue. They are welcome to try.
All right.
Bet already. All right, let's do this.
Let's do it. You still have the initiative, sir.
All right. Well, I'm waiting in the alley, dark alley, trying to use the shadow to my advantage, and I'll be coiled like a serpent. I'll try to make myself very low,
right,
in a jumping position, and the first one to be in range, I'm going to rush towards him, and I'll perform a balestra, which is 1 foot,
yes,
very extended in the front, hand in the back, and piercing the flesh.
Yeah, it's the charging thrust.
Yep, and I'll use the Renoir school on this.
Now,
and of course,
if you
trust is no modification, but that's my move.
If you can double their strength, remember, you'll get to knock them back.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So do that.
Indeed.
The universe implies you should knock them back.
Yes. So, rapier 6.
Yeah, so your fencing plus your rapier.
Yep, that's a 7. All right.
Now, if you wanted, you could go total attack, give up your defense. This would add 2 additional dice.
The situation is in my advantage, so Jean-Marie is kind of patient with these type of situations. The situation is not dire. I don't need to go all Philippe on them.
Good for you. Wise choice, I think.
So that's 4 successes.
4 successes.
All the 1.
All right. I'm going to roll it just for fun. Okay. He is knocked back. So the thrust pierces the club bearer. And it's so fierce, you get him right up to the bell guard of your rapier.
Oh.
And then he falls back off the other end of it into the 2 knife wielders who are just entering the mouth of the alley. They accidentally catch him on their knives.
I suppose I must do a certain motion to get my rapier back out of the guy.
You could even use your boot.
Good idea.
Put your boot on
that could be the knockback. That could be the knockback.
There you go.
Pushing the guy and
So you get him right in close, his face right up close to his. It's a Parisian face. It's a face you could have seen 1,000 times in the street. But he's looking at you with hatred. He is your enemy. You have taken something for him that he wanted. And as the Bellegarde protector of your hand slams into his chest as he gets that close, and then you push him back.
Grimacing back.
He falls back into the knives of his companions and expires. Now there are only 2. Plus, you can hear the man with the crutch getting to his feet, and he's an excellent cursor. Such profanity. Anyone, even a professional soldier such as yourself, could learn something from this man.
Must be a sailor. Well,
So the two come in for their attack, letting the body of the man with the club fall between them, pulling their knives out of his back. They look at you with rage, and one of them rushes in to attack.
well, they find Jean-Marie waiting for them, just right next to the body.
He attacks, and the dice are very, very cold for me today. 1.
1. I have a 6 defense. Chances are in my camp, 2 successes.
2 successes. Ooh.
A little under the average.
But it's all you need. It's all you need. Now the second one comes in. This is second attack. So your defense is reduced by 2. 2 successes.
So my defense is reduced by 2, right?
Yep.
Since it's a second attack.
Yes. So it goes from 6 to 4.
Okay. All right. That's 1 success.
1 success. He catches you with the edge of his knife, doing 1 lethal.
1 lethal. Okay. All right.
It's obvious these two are used to working together. In fact, they may even be brothers. So one has slashed you, the other one has caught you as you dealt with the first. But it's an insignificant wound.
Of course.
And remember, for 2 style, it can be removed.
Negated, or yeah.
It's not as bad as it seemed.
For 2 style.
Yep. Just a flesh wound.
Mm.
Is it worth it?
It's just a flesh wound, yes. It's not worth it.
Okay.
Jean-Marie is really, really tough.
he likes
somewhat tough, well, I'll say. Somewhat. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, after all, he does have high pain tolerance.
Indeed. And an iron jaw.
And an iron jaw. But they don't hit me in my jaw. They keep hitting me in my soft and tender parts. Okay. So they're in close. One of them wants to get behind you, and they're in knife fighters crouches. They're not the toughest opponents that you've faced, but you're tired. It's dark. You're in an alley. There were 6 of them. You're now down to 2 of them.
Let's see. I'm very tempted to no. The first idea is always the better one. Yeah, I'm gonna just make a step to the right because I'm a right-handed. I'll fling Josephine, my rapier, towards the face of the fellow to my right. The intention being just to make him blink, and as he does, I'm gonna suck him with the guard of my rapier, leaving a Rose d'Orléans motif in his face.
Branded as a thief. Right on.
Well, it's more like a rose with little flowery and little leaves.
Okay. This is still fencing. This is a normal attack. Guys punch each other with the guard all the time.
Yes. So I presume it will be a thrust again. I should maybe perform under my style, preferred style of maneuver. All right. Let's see. Five,
Well,
six,
this is
seven.
a punch, so it's much less of a thrust than it would be more similar to a slash.
Okay, I can do that. 5, 6, and the 2 for the blade, which act like a gauntlet in this situation. That's a 5 successes, and bam!
Well, okay. He looks at you. You see that, see it impacting against his face. Of course, your eye's still on the other guy, right?
Yep.
But his eyes follow the direction of travel of the guard, right? As if they've been knocked in their orbits, and his head goes with it, and then his body spins around, and he corkscrews right down into unconsciousness. Boom, out cold.
Excellent. That was the intention.
And the other man is there, blinks, runs. All you can hear is his feet retreating down into the alley.
This is the typical reaction of a coward. I'll let him go.
In the back of your head, you can still hear, "Come to us. Why did you think we were only one? Come, come, come." And you have a sense that you know where they are.
I could have come sooner! And I shout into the alleyway. If you weren't too busy to send your minions against me.
A gentleman
I'm
comes
coming.
when called.
Oh, I'm coming.
You have a sense, you know where. Back into the courtyard with the wagon. Underneath the wagon is an entryway into the sewers again.
Okay.
But not in the sewers. From there, turning and looking at an alleyway that's hidden by wreckage, by garbage, by hovels and shelters made out of cloth and broken pieces of wood. It's all disguise for the entryway to their lair.
All right. I'm gonna lay Josephine, my rapier, on the ground. I'll take one moment to clean her with a little vial of holy water, just to purify her a little, just to a little ritual, a little cleansing ritual. And then I take her and I walk straight towards the entrance.
Awesome. I can see him right in my head. So that's 2 style.
Oh, yes.
The seriousness, the monster hunter, and his desire for revenge.
I'm so gonna punch Bliskar when he's get back. I'm so punching it.
That's another one. That's so true. Now, you know they're in your head, right? This is something your occult studies have warned you of, and your own experience, even this night with the original witch that we began the encounter with the death of. You know they're in your head. They're working at you. Ooh. And could you please roll your mental resilience, your willpower doubled, please?
Yes. I'm gonna use the blue ones.
Yeah, use the blue ones.
Oh, 1 success.
All right. As you might intuit, 1 success is not quite enough.
Oh yeah,
now,
they have something for me.
They are not taking control of you or stripping you of your mental abilities, but As you move toward the entrance, you hear your child's voice. Screaming for her daddy.
Well, my walk towards the wagon or the entrance is interrupted. I stop, close my eyes, and I repeat 5 times, this is not real, 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 this is not.
Right. And as you reach the end of your intentional litany, you remember you never had a daughter. You had a son.
I'm struggling with this still, and I fight it. Make another step. The next one will be harder. You witch.
And you can hear the growling from inside the alleyway. You hear the snarling of the werewolf. You hear the sound of flesh ripping, bones breaking. You hear the ragdoll sounds of the head moving left and right, that sharp snap that's to break the neck.
I'm slapping myself in the face. And I revert back to the old trick. I'll try to mock them. I'll try to, you know what? Very nifty trick, very cool, very impressive. And I thought, and I was running away from your sister with all my heart. And I thought she was the greatest threat I ever faced in my life. It turns out she was so easy to kill, even in the dark. You are so next, and I'm getting angry now, and then
right.
And I want to see their heads roll off, and I take another step toward the entrance, and I
You're
try
right
to
there.
fight my.
There's this hanging, moldy, like sheet of canvas, right, which obscures the passageway. All you have to do is pull it aside. That's all you have to do is pull it aside, and you will see the werewolf savaging your child. Is it a boy or was it a girl?
Girl, boy. I'll make my way up there, struggling all the way through.
Pulling aside the tarpaulin.
Lift my hand, grab the tarp, pull it like as if it weighed like 200 pounds. Sweat on my face.
That's another style.
Thanks.
The
And
tarp
and
is
as
pulled
I
aside.
open the tarp, I'll just whisper Jean-Baptiste, the
There
name
you
of
go.
my son.
You pull the tarp aside, and there is nothing in the alley but alley. But you can see, with the moonlight behind you, your shadow, the shadow of a musketeer. You see a narrow stairway at the end going up. And all along these stairs, there are candles and small offerings, bits of food, family heirlooms, this kind of stuff, all up the stairway, as if it's a shrine.
Feeling a little bit lighter on my feet, I'll still climb that staircase with heavy foot in a I'm coming kind of way. I'll use my I'll take out the main gauche. I'll take my Kazakh out, but I'm gonna keep it in my hands. She's heavier than usual. She's soaked with all kind of stuff. It's a perfect thing to throw in the face of someone, or grab an arm, or to enroll around someone's face. So I'm climbing these stairs with my dirty Kazakh in one hand and Josephine in the other one. Boom, boom, boom. And I pray wherever Jean-Baptiste is to give me strength. One which was not easy, but if they are 2 or 3, like the usual trio, they always come in 3. I'm praying to God and my son, and somehow I can already imagine the sunset, or rather the rise of the sun. I can almost see it, but there's a job to do first.
All right.
Yeah, wine will wait.
One step after another step, rising up, passing all the offerings of the people of this neighborhood, right? And then you reach the door, and on the door is marked some mockery of the cross.
I take a pause just to examine the offering, like a second thought, looking back into the stairs and the symbols. Have I seen this before? Are these pagan rituals?
Well,
yeah, that's a legit question.
The answer is not coming easily, but your training is enough to put some pieces together. The first witch you faced tonight definitely had this sign on a necklace around her neck, a necklace which was cut free during your battle with her and lost in the sewer. But mainly, it's an insult to the church. Enough to appease the peasants who don't know any better, but ultimately blasphemy.
I think I'm going to. My plan is I'm going to recite le Notre Père, the famous prayer, as I'm entering the place of worship. I'm going to introduce some disturbance with the holy words.
Do it.
So I'll step into the room. Notre Père qui es aux cieux, votre nom soit sanctifié. Just to annoy the shit out of them.
As you walk in, praying, like someone else you know.
Yes. If only he was there.
I
wouldn't punch Martin.
There are candles around the room. And there's piles of offerings. Now, this part of Paris is filled with the most poor, the most destitute. But there's fresh bread, there's eggs, there's chickens in cages. People are giving up everything they have. There are 3 highly decorated. They look like thrones. They look, again, like a mockery of the throne of King Louis XIII, the throne you protect. They're painted a gaudy gold. They're wrapped up with wire and glittering bits of broken glass that glimmer in the flickering candlelight. Everything about this place says excess, greed, envy, and mockery. And as you walk in praying, the candle flames turn green and the temperature drops. Inviting the Almighty into this place is not something its residents appreciate. And the 3 thrones ahead of you across, one of them is empty. The one on the left, your left. 2 are full. Beautiful, sensually full. The perfect woman is sitting on the right side, your right, of the center throne. If there is a perfect woman in all of France, more perfect than this, it's unbelievable. And she's looking at you with a welcoming smile. But on the center throne, a crone, ancient, twisted, gnarled woman, is slowly both deflating and expanding into a different form. A form not unlike a giant, sweaty, oozing frog.
Well.
And the woman, the beautiful woman, rises with perfect grace, and her feet not seeming to move at all in her tight dress, totally different from the fashion of the ladies of the court, far too revealing and sensual. She glides across the floor and is suddenly next to Jean-Marie. Not touching, but close. If she were to reach out a hand, she might be able to reach you. And she says, "Welcome. You must be tired." What is your heart's desire?
I'm about to become even more tired. Lady, if you can read minds of intelligence, you know what I am.
But you could be so much more.
I was so much more indeed.
And you could be that again. Just say your heart's desire and it can be yours. And Jean-Marie, you're facing temptation. Terrible, magical temptation. They're already
Indeed.
inside your head. They've implanted dreams and suggestions. And so now it is down purely to your ability to be you. Your will and any resources you might bring to bear against them in this.
Oh, I'm gonna to resist.
To resist, yes.
I'm going to spend 1 style point for my dear Odette, the real perfect woman for me.
Ah.
The one that is waiting for me in Orléans. I'll be using another one for my son. who would never want to see his dad fail just because of his eyes, of what he can see, which is always a lie. And one for Briscoe, who will never believe me when I'll try to describe the woman. I'm gonna add three dice to my pool.
All right. He'll claim he's already met her.
And I'll always know that he didn't.
I'm going to tell you the stakes so that you can
Yep.
worry about it a little bit while the dice are rolling. You're trying to beat 4 successes.
Okay.
Jean-Marie, your life is on the line.
I could. It would be prudent to spend another one to make.
Now remember, this is your willpower times 2.
Yep. I have 3 in willpower, so that's a 6.
That's
base.
6 plus the
I
4
added
style you're adding.
Yep. So that's a 10. So
You can do
if I go higher than this, and I'll leave that to chance, because this is where the crux of the biscuit lies. Oh, look at that. That's a 3 successes.
3 successes.
Yeah. I'm 1 under. I should have taken the average.
If only that prick of a game master had given you the opportunity.
Indeed, but it's not such a time. There is stress. There is anticipation. Dice must be rolled.
You wake up from a horrifying dream. A dream that your son was killed by a werewolf, but you wake up in the beautiful Orléans next to Odette, and all is right with the world.
Whoa. I'll just sit. I'll just sit in my bed and massage my head like, what happened?
You can hear your son, Jean-Baptiste, playing out in the yard.
In the window, my son play and start to smile like, oh, everything is good. Everything is all right.
And then that moment is gone, and you're back again in the room. And she says, all that can be yours again. Forever. If you just recognize the lie you've been living, and let me show you the truth.
I will look at her in a kind of a conceding way and just say, I know, but I made a promises, and all that you want to offer me won't bring me that. I have something to do in this life, and I'll do it even if it kills me. This is the power. This is the power that lies in the heart of man.
Oh, men, you have no power. And on the throne, the toad-like being, which had been forgotten, swells up, its neck expanding, and sprays forth this horrific hell vomit.
Hell vomit.
Hell vomit.
Is this a
blasting, blasting Jean-Marie from head to toe with its unholy spew.
I might like to dodge that if, of course, I can.
You absolutely can. Well, you can try. This is an area attack.
Okay. I think I have a brilliant idea to spend these style points. Yes, I think I might do that. Yes, I have a plan. I have part of a plan.
You have part of a plan.
I have part of a
better
plan.
than no plan.
Yep. Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to defend against that. And I'd like to spend style points also to. I am tempted to call that serendipity or just a last ditch instinct, or I would not call that like a feat of willpower. Not at this point. Not under the charm of that creature. Something else. Something more in the reptilian part of the brain. You know, the very primitive. Survival or self-preservation mechanism, maybe. In my effort to dodge that hell vomit.
The unholy vomit.
Hell vomit is good. I'd like to make a run for the nearest window and just make that a dive
out the window,
out of the room. I'm willing. I have a budget. I'm willing to spend style points to add an effect.
Alrighty.
So how do we do this?
Okay.
Am I raising my defense? Am I using willpower in my defense or as a passive defense, which is the same score as my body?
We'll raise your defense. That's the easiest
way.
Defense. Raise defense. It's the easiest way.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'm going all in because it's a life or death situation. I'm going to spend the four remaining style point and hope for the best.
Okay.
I'm gonna run towards that window, whatever it is on the other side. In a typical musketeer fashion. The hell with it. So that's 3 successes.
3 successes. 3 successes. Yep. It's enough. The blast of unholy vomit spatters across the wall, steaming, smoking. The smell is debilitating. It's enough to make you retch, and it makes your eyes water. It'd be impossible to fight while covered with this, but you hurl yourself out the window. It shatters. Now, unfortunately, it was covered with wood, so it's wood that splinters out in a spray, and you go, and you're hanging in the air for just a second. You fall about 4 feet and then hit the sloping roof along the side of the staircase, roll down it, and then onto the stairs that you climbed, scattering candles and food and pieces of bread everywhere as you hit the stairs.
All right. I have probably a couple of things broken in me right now, but I don't feel it. I just get up and I start to shamble my way away from that place in defeat, already planning revenge,
A
already
bit dizzy,
planning. A bit dizzy, yeah.
yeah, but unharmed. You didn't actually fall very far.
It is true. um, and I'll promise myself to study witches more. This is like the third time in a couple of weeks. This is infernal. Must do something about it. And yeah, this is the plan. I want to get out of there alive to fight another day.
So as you leave, in the back of your mind, there's this sure sense that whenever you're ready to give up the lie of the life you live, the wonderful truth of family, safety, security is just waiting for you. And so the curtain closes.
It is noted. It is something that Jean-Marie will drag around. And I had like she had like 4 successes on that check, and I had 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, that 2 successes will stick.
And so, Sebastien, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to cross swords with the seedy supernatural underbelly of Paris.
It's been a pleasure, Anthony. Thank you for having me.
In this what? In this exploration of the...
In this exploration of the drive, the Monster Hunter drive and motivation.
And a hint at all the many different things which are out there in the world of All for One Regime Diabolique, from the inspired mind of Paul Wiggy Wade Williams.
Indeed.
All right. And so now I will press the stop broadcast button and say farewell to you all.
All for One.